What's going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with the Wraparound. We're going to be breaking down all the NHL action going down on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily $15 best bet, head on over to Pickdawgz.com. Click the premium picks tab at the top of the page. Today, it's just either my $15 play of the day for college hoops, or I have a 5-pack on the board with my favorite 2 NBA plays and my 2 favorite NHL plays. So make sure that you check that out. Remember to use the promo code PICK at checkout for 15% off your purchase again. But I apologize. The wraparound came out late today. I'm still jet lagged from my flight. Still not feeling the absolute best, but I still want to make sure that I got at least something out for you guys. Hopefully, you catch this as the lines have kind of had a little bit of time to develop. Maybe we can get you the best possible number on some of these lines, but let's not wait any longer. Let's start talking about them. You guys know the drill. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. Our first game comes to us from the KeyBank Center, where the Buffalo Sabres take on the Ottawa Senators. And I feel like this game kind of goes against what I've told people to do for the better part of the season, which is kind of fade the Ottawa Senators on the road and back them at home. And the Buffalo Sabres have won both meetings so far this season. But the thing is, the Ottawa Senators have still won 4 of their last 5 games on the road, and they're the only team fighting for anything right now. The Buffalo Sabres are still fighting for pride, and that's all well and good. But realistically, this Buffalo Sabres team, when you sort of look at where they are entering Tuesday's action, they're dead last in the Eastern Conference. They have 62 points. They would have to have 13 more points to even pull even of the Canadiens, and everybody else would have to lose around them. So just to put an idea of how unlikely it is for the Sabres to get back into this, the Senators still trying to lock up a spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs. They're fighting for that wild card. It's going to look like, right now, the Panthers, the Leafs, and the Lightning are all a few points ahead of them. There's still time for them to make up ground, but realistically, they're the only team, like I said, with anything to play for in this matchup. So I'm going to lean towards the Ottawa Senators. I think they finally break through in this head-to-head matchup. So give me the Senators on the money line in this one. Now we go to the Lenovo Center for this matchup between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Nashville Predators. And right now you want the definition of two teams headed in different directions. This is it. I mean, the Nashville Predators have lost 5 of their last 6. They've scored 1 goal or less in all 5 of those losses. On the road, they're 8-22-5 this season, which puts them just above 20% win percentage on the road. Meanwhile, Carolina at home, where they play their best hockey, they've won 9 of their last 10. The bulk of their recent wins have been by 2 or more goals. To me, this one's all Carolina on the puck line here. You can take them in regulation if you want. That'll still get the price down, from minus 300 to probably somewhere around minus 170, minus 180, if around that. But at least the puck line gets you around a coin flip. So I'll take the Hurricanes to win this one in regulation, but the puck line is probably the stronger way to go. Now we got to Scotiabank Arena, where the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Philadelphia Flyers. And, I wanted to get there with an underdog in some spots, but even though Toronto at times the season has really been disappointing, as decent sized favorites, they found ways to fall apart. The fact of the matter is the Toronto Maple Leafs are at home when they play their better hockey. The Philadelphia Flyers are now a team that's won just 33% of their games on the road this season. They are falling apart at the worst possible time. They've lost 5 straight, 9 of 10. They've just been getting crushed on this road trip. Now they just got crushed by Chicago of all teams. It's going from bad to worse for the Philadelphia Flyers, who have lost 10 of the last 11 meetings between these two teams. So I'm going to go with the Toronto Maple Leafs in this one. I think the Leafs get the job done at home. So give me the Leafs in regulation and on the puck line. Now we head to the Amalie Arena, where the Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the same thing applies here. I was trying to figure out if I could take a shot on the underdog here, but I think this is actually a game where I could take a shot on the underdog. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a team for me that just continues to disappoint whenever I back them, because I give them the benefit of the doubt and all of a sudden they fall apart. But the thing is that the Pittsburgh Penguins need to start racking up wins. They have 10 games to make up 6 points. They are running out of time to do so. And this is a team that's still too talented for me to just think that they're just going to roll over. The Tampa Bay Lightning are coming off a road trip. It's just their They had a weird little stance. They had a 3-game road trip. They went home for a game. They went back on the road for 3 games. They're coming back off a West Coast road trip. And now they've got to try to readjust. I can tell you right now that is not an easy thing to do. And even though Tampa Bay's won 24 34 games at home, the Pittsburgh Penguins have had a history of beating the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've won 6 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams, and the road team has won both meetings so far this season. So I'm going to give the Penguins one more shot here. I'm going to take the Penguins. I'm going to take a shot here on the plus 1.5. I'll put a little bit on the money line as well. Now we head to the Enterprise Center, where the St. Louis Blues take on the Montreal Canadiens. And this is a bit of a hefty price for St. Louis, considering that Montreal's been playing some decent hockey to get themselves back into the in the wild card race. They're actually holding on to the second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. But the thing for me in this game is that the St. Louis Blues are just on a roll right now. They have won 6 straight, including 3 straight at home. Could you call into question the level of competition of those teams? Sure. Nashville on the road, where they've stunk this season. Chicago, who's pretty much stunk all season. And Vancouver, who's been in a little bit of a slump. They also beat Nashville again on the road. They beat Anaheim. They beat Minnesota in Minnesota. But still, momentum is momentum. And right now, the St. Louis Blues need it to hold on to that final wild card spot in the Western Conference. And I just think that right now the Blues, like I said, are just playing the better hockey at the right time. So I'm going to lean towards the Blues here on the money line and in regulation. Now we head to the XL Energy Center, where the Minnesota Wild take on the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'm not going to lie, this matchup absolutely stinks. Not because of the teams involved. I think these are still 2 solid teams. The problem for me is that I'm not lay minus 210, minus 220 on the road with the Vegas Golden Knights, who are just 15, 13, and 5 this season, a sub 500 team on the road. Yet they have won 3 straight, but all 3 of those wins came at home. And last time we saw the Golden Knights on the road, they lost 3 of 4. On the other side, though, even though Minnesota's won 3 straight at home, they haven't necessarily been scoring a ton of goals. And head-to-head, this head-to-head matchup has been all Vegas. So rather than try to split hairs on the side here, which, if I was going to, maybe I would lean towards Minnesota and the plus money, or at least plus 1.5. I think the better way to go here is to take the under. A lot of recent games from the Minnesota Wild have been going under the total. During this current 4-game run that they're on, we've seen totals of 3, 5, 4, and 4. And even going back to that, before the loss to the Blues, a 3-2 loss to the Rangers, 2-1 to Colorado, 3-1 to Pittsburgh and Vancouver. I think this could be another 1-3 wins kind of game, a little bit more of a defensive battle, as a couple of the recent meetings have been between these two teams. The 2 meetings this season have each seen 5 goals. So I'm going to lean towards the under between the Golden Knights and the Wild. Now we head to the Canada Life Center, where the Winnipeg Jets take on the Washington Capitals in probably one of the games of the day. And to me, this is just not a great betting opportunity. It's a game that you definitely have to, I think, settle in and watch, because this could very well be a Stanley Cup final preview. But for me, it's still, the Winnipeg Jets, they've been inconsistent as of late. They've alternated wins and losses in 4 straight. Washington's won 4 straight, 9 of 10. I get it. Then why would the Winnipeg Jets be favored in this game if that's, if the Capitals are the hotter team? The Winnipeg Jets are still 25-6-4 on the road this season. A 71% win percentage at home. Washington 23-8-2 on the road, though. And even though their most recent road trip was a West Conference trip where they did beat the Sharks and the Ducks as they should, and they lost to LA, another strong home team, I still think that the Capitals getting plus money is something that you kind of have to take, considering it's not something you're going to see often. I think going into this game, I said I wanted to be on whatever side the underdog was going to be, and I probably assumed that it was going to be the Capitals, because the Jets weren't going to be underdogs at home against anybody really. But I'll lean towards the Capitals on the money line this one, just from a value perspective, taking a shot on some plus money. Next, we head to the Ball Arena for this matchup between the Colorado Avalanche and the Detroit Red Wings, and another example of just 2 teams headed in different directions. The Colorado Avalanche, they've won 8 of their last 10 games. They've just been absolutely steamrolling teams left and right. The Detroit Red Wings, they've lost 7 of their last 10, and a win over the Utah Hockey Club is not going to convince me that all of a sudden Detroit's issues are solved, because this is a Detroit Red Wings team that is just sort of falling fast. They've been in the wild card race for much of the second half of the season, but right now, they're starting to lose some steam. Now they do have, three points to make up, and they've got 12 games to do it, so they're not completely out of it yet. But I just don't think this is the spot to do it because they're still a sub 500 team on the road, going against a Colorado team that's played their best hockey at home this season, where they're 23-10-2, and head to head, Colorado's owned this matchup. They've won 9 of the last 10 meetings. I just think that the Avalanche get the job done here. Like I said, they're just in much better form. So give me the Avalanche in regulation and on the puck line in this one. Now we head to the Scotiabank Saddledome, where the Calgary Flames take on the Seattle Kraken. And I normally would take a shot on or take Calgary at home here, where they have been playing their better hockey this season, 18-11-5. And it's a Calgary team. It's only 4 points out of the playoffs, out of the wild card spot, with 3 games in hand on the Blues, 2 games in hand on Minnesota. They're the only team on the outside looking in with 13 games to play. But the problem is that the Seattle Kraken have actually owned this matchup in recent years. Winning 4 of the last 5 meetings. They've been owning it in Calgary as well historically. And I just think this is a matchup where the road team once again continues to dominate. I think that Seattle, they've won each of their last 4 trips into Calgary. And the Flames, they're on a nice little win streak, but I think it's time for a bit of a letdown here after winning 3 of 4 on their recent East Coast road trip, taking down the Rangers, the Devils, and the Islanders, all in that section of the country. And I just think that this is a spot where I would take a shot on the Kraken, just given the head-to-head history between these two teams. I think that the Flames need a little bit of air let out of the balloon. So give me the Kraken on the money line in this one. Our final game on Tuesday's card takes us to the Crypto.com arena, where the Los Angeles Kings take on the New York Rangers. And I went back and forth to try to figure out if this was a spot where maybe you could take a shot on some plus money with the Rangers, and I simply couldn't do it. The Kings are just still so good at home. 25-3-4 at home this season. It's a big reason why I said I think that the Los Angeles Kings are a team that I would place a future on. I said it around the All-Star break, the Four Nations face-off break, and even before that. The Kings have had a backloaded schedule where they have a ton of home games to close out the season. The Kings have 13 games left, and 8 of those games are going to be, 9 of those games are going to be at home, where, like I said, they've just been so dominant this season. And you look at the 2 games they played at home on a back-to-back. They beat Boston and Carolina, even though Boston's slumping. They beat Boston and Carolina by back-to-back 7-2 final scores. The Rangers, they're a solid team, but they just continue to be inconsistent. Right now they're on the outside looking in, and you would think that at a certain point that sense of urgency needs to show up for the New York Rangers. But until it does, I can't buy it, especially when the Kings are at home on the other side. I'm going to take the Kings to win this one on the money line and in regulation if you don't like that money line price around minus 165 with the Kings. That's it. That's all the NHL action for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Again, if you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily $15 best bet, head on over to pickdawgz.com. Click the premium picks tab at the top of the page. And remember to use the promo code PICK at checkout for 15% off your purchase. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon.